Hey, what's going on guys? My name is Rampage and welcome to another gaming rant, or kind of gaming news as well, because I'm going to tie this gaming rant into a few of the latest Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Unity news articles, simply because it kind of ties into what I'm actually going to talk about in this video. So basically, by the title, you obviously know that this is in relation to quality assurance as well as developers not wanting to optimize their games. Now, a lot of people, just before I continue, I'm just going to say that this is for both PC and console. So I'm going to link you guys to the, I think it's the, Digital Foundry Assassin's Creed Unity PS4 versus Xbox One gameplay framerate test. Now, I don't know the difference between both of them, whether they are running at the same resolution, or what type of features are disabled in each of them, but anyway. The first article that I will be referring to is Assassin's Creed Unity doesn't run very well on Xbox One and PS4. So, you know, this is as what I said in a previous video where I stated that the Xbox One version of the Assassin's Creed Unity doesn't run very well at all. Now, in the same section that they are actually demoing in that video is the same sort of demo that I actually played, or more or less the same, right? So, what am I getting at here? Why am I making this video? Well, games today aren't really optimized very well, and you know that's a fact. Ubisoft came out and said that they were locking the game at 30 frames per second on consoles, and they also stated that because of the because of the amount of AI they used, they couldn't actually bump it up to 60 frames per second. Now, that's completely understandable, but the fact that that also comes into play on the PC version, where the PC version still suffers, sorry, I'm going to move my mic down a little bit, suffers from frame rate issues simply because, why? Now, I have an i5-2500K clocked at 4.5 gigahertz, yet when I play Assassin's Creed Unity, it's using 100% of all 4 of my cores. Now, why? Because, sure, consoles have an 8-core CPU, but console CPUs, or the console CPU, is actually lower powered and lower performance than my current CPU, and that's only a quad-core, right? So why is the game maxing out my CPU for no apparent reason? And doing so, the game actually causes stutters. Now, it's not like complete up and down stutters like every other Assassin's Creed game apart from AC3 and Assassin's Creed 4. But, it's still playable. But the fact that I have to turn most of the settings down, that's including environment quality, I have to turn down to, I think, high or something. And then texture quality, I can leave that as it is if I want to have a lot more drops. But if I turn that down to, I think it was the next one down from like ultra high or some garbage, then if I turn down SSAO, HBAO plus to SSAO, as well as turn anti-aliasing down from 4 times to FXAA or turn it off, then my performance is okay. It's definitely playable, but it just doesn't justify the difference between Assassin's Creed 4 and Unity, because both of them look kind of the same. The only difference with Assassin's Creed Unity is that there's no water, there's a lot more AI, and they do their own thing, as well as I think they improve the lighting and shadows or something like that. But those features I should be able to dick around with on the PC version. I should be able to turn off post effects, including depth of field, motion blur, the super saturated RGB that they are using to make the colors more saturated, as well as every other thing that you could possibly think of is in this fucking game, right? Every post effect you could probably think of is present in this, Yet I can't actually turn any of them off unless I turn all of them off by disabling post effects in the config. Now, I don't know whether that actually works, because I personally haven't tested it, but I know that it's in there. So, alright, so I'm gonna kind of leave Assassin's Creed Unity out of this for a while, because, it runs like garbage across every platform. But this last article, in terms of Ubisoft says it's working on fixing Assassin's Creed Unity. So basically what they're trying to fix is Arno falling through the ground, game crashing while joining co-op sessions, Arno getting caught inside the hay cart things, delay reaching the main menu. Delay reaching the main menu, that's because you, one, force players to actually play the game first, rather than actually take us to the menu, as well as a fucking stupidly long introduction or intro movies towards the game. Now, the two that actually come to mind are the loading sort of, this is based on fiction or some bullshit, or this has religious stuff in it, that sort of thing, as well as when this icon appears, this means it's saving. Yes, mate, I do understand that. You don't have to show it for 5 fucking minutes. Ugh. But anyway, underneath this they say frame rate issues, graphical and collision issues, matchmaking co-op issues, and Helix credits issues. So if I go to the Steam page, that they actually have a list of bugs that they actually want to fix, but let me just quickly find it. But yeah, games like Shadow of Mordor that required, 6 gigs of VRAM for no fucking reason whatsoever, as well as most other games that require i7s for no reason. Most of these games don't use hyperthreading, yet they require an i7. If you're not going to even bother using hyperthreading, why the fuck do I even require an i7? Now, Assassin's Creed Unity and Far Cry 3 had the same issue, where they, for some reason, use most of my CPU, where Far Cry 3 was using about 80 to 90% of all of my 4 cores, yet it still ran like shit. Now it was playing at DirectX 9 from the first level. So, anyway, let me just fucking get to the Steam page. They changed the way the forum is. You got to click discussions, then discussions, rather than actually click forum, which is kind of a little bit strange. But anyway, they have stability performance, fixed numerous random crashes on both campaign and co-op, gameplay, fixed edge case cover issues, fixed various edge case camera issues. I don't know what edge case means, because that's in every fucking thing on this page in terms of what they want to fix. Navigation issues, descending navigation issues, animation issues, various animation issues in terms of AI and crowd, detection issues, VO for minor reaction issues, crowd events issues. The list does go on dramatically, as well as fixed various texture issues, fixed anti-aliasing or aliasing on specific shaders in cinematics, fixed various collisions and navigation issues. There's a massive list. I'll leave everything that I'm referring to in the description so you guys can check it out for yourself. But, this sort of thing should have been fixed or actually became aware of during QA or at least alpha or beta testing. Now, this also applies for most games that have come out this year that have required a 64-bit version. That includes Styx, Thief. I think Thief came out this year. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Fucking Wolfenstein: The New Order. Shadow of Mordor, I believe, is also 64-bit. What else have I played that sucked? The Evil Within, Company of Heroes 2, which came out a while ago, still runs like shit on PC, because that's a PC exclusive. I have no idea why it runs like shit. But, yeah, those games that I have on my list, that they're under new games. So they're the games that are more prominent. Games that have been locked at 30 frames per second, like Vikings Battle for Asgard, is completely unacceptable for PC. If you're planning to bring out a game on PC, we all have 60 Hz monitors. We all prefer, or most PC gamers prefer 60 frames over anything else. If we can't get 60 frames per second in your game, we're going to complain about it. Simply because most of us have either spent over 1,500 on a PC or near or close to around 2,500 on a PC. When you spend that kind of money on a PC, you expect a product to work. If I was a QA tester, me personally, I would be the type of QA tester that would actually find bugs and actually try to break the fucking game and notify the developers. Now, I don't know what the process is with QA, but I know from a few years ago, it was with, say, like Call of Duty or Battlefield, they would give the QA guys like 2 levels or 1 level to actually try and break, including like racing games and stuff like that, where that's not really enough to determine bugs within the game. Now, what they should be doing is giving them a massive chunk in between the, like, just after the start of the game and just before the ending of the game, right? And cut out all cutscenes and all sort of story elements. Just disable them, right? What they should be doing, well, not really all of them, but like missions that, well, yeah, I guess you can't really get rid of the story elements unless they're like cutscenes and stuff, but then you kind of got to test whether the cutscenes are actually triggered and that sort of thing. So, you know, alright, so say a massive chunk of the game, for, in this case, Assassin's Creed Unity, where, you know, most of the game is just running around on rooftops and shit like that, and I would have thought that collision, I found a collision issue while I was fucking playing the game at PAX Australia on Xbox One. I noted that the performance was terrible from PAX Australia. I even mentioned it in a previous video. So, if I'm aware of it, I can guarantee you, Ubisoft was already aware of this. So why was it not fixed before the game came out? This also occurs with, not these specific issues, but performance-based, with Wolfenstein: The New Order. That game runs like shit, and it looks like shit. The Evil Within, locked at 30 FPS or 60 FPS. When you unlock the frame rate, it runs terribly. Now, I haven't actually tested the 60 FPS patch, so I don't know how well it runs. I don't know how well Lords of the Fallen or Lords of the Fallen. I don't know how well that runs because I recently bought that. But, you know, when games run terribly on a $2,000 PC over a $500 or $400 console, you already have issues. Now, I don't know whether it's got something to do with the developer not wanting to optimize the game prior to release, or whether it's got something to do with the QA teams that are actually being, you know, employed to test the game that aren't properly diagnosing issues. Now, the first thing that I would say about Assassin's Creed Unity or any other game is frame rate, performance, and whether it drops or whether it actually gives, you know, stutters or anything like that. That would be the first fucking thing that I would point out to developers, regardless of any other bugs, right? After that, I would be trying to find, in Assassin's Creed Unity case, I would try to find ledge-based issues, like go around to most of the buildings and try to jump off something to grab them, which I noticed for one specific building, I can't remember where it was, but when I jumped to it, the main character or protagonist didn't actually grab the ledge, and in that case, he kind of like hit the ledge and kind of went and slowly moved down. This was about 30 or 40 meters in the air. So, you know, I didn't die because of that slow motion going back to the ground. You know, that kind of takes a lot of the immersion out of it, especially, well, it's in third person, but, you know, I'm just sick of games coming out, especially on PC, now that it's coming to console, where console games are having horrible performance. Where does this end? You know, do you need people like myself to fucking badger you about this shit? Do you need me or other people like myself to test your fucking game and actually badger you about it? You know, I'm one of those people that do make performance-based videos on PC, obviously, to notify the public of how well specific games run. And I don't do it for most games, but, you know, a lot of games that I do. So, what's going on here? Is it the developers or is it the QA guys? Or is it both? Is there a massive or somewhat communication breakdown where they don't want to talk to the developer because the developer has higher power and will determine whether they will fix those issues, and the QA guys have probably been with them for a while, so they'll probably know what type of things that these developers are actually looking for. Now, that's not how I think QA should be. I don't think that these guys should not tell the developers about something if they have had issues with, you know, presenting those kind of issues or bugs to them and then them not actually giving a shit. But anyway, let me know in the comments section below what type of games you've played, whether it be on PC, console, that have run really terrible. Now, I'm not talking about it because it's at 30 frames per second. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about games that are locked, that drop dramatically and you can feel it. You know, that when you're playing games like Enslaved on console, right? Yes, this is on PS3, but I noticed that when you kind of like are running, or in that case, kind of like jogging but not running, and then sort of pan, it kind of like slowed and then went fast. It was really weird. That also occurred on PC. I don't know whether that had anything to do with the frame rate, but it was really annoying, and it was never fixed. It wasn't fixed on PC either. So where does the line get drawn? Where is that line that says developers will stop, fixing issues? Is there a line? Do developers stop? Because why? If something is dramatically wrong with your game, you should be trying to get it fixed, or employing people that do have the mindset of, I want to find bugs and present them to you. They should be employing people like that. Now, I don't know how QA or how that kind of development link is actually made, but it looks like QA is to blame here. But I'm not saying that it is, but it looks like it is, because QA is where they get sort of the public or people that they can employ outside the development studio to try and find bugs, try and find issues with the game. So if they can't find them, yet we can after launch, what's going on? Why are developers being so lazy in terms of actually trying to fix their game, get it running correctly, and optimize performance? Why? Why are we on PC or console now struggling to get games that actually perform well? It's not the hardware. It's how the developers have their own vision. If the vision cannot be presented on console very well, why the fuck are you making it worse on PC? I always said that for Assassin's Creed Unity, why the fuck would you add so many AI when you actually stated that you would have to bring down the frame rate simply because your AI is too advanced? Well, get rid of most of it, or get rid of some of it, or at least give us the opportunity to dumb down the amount of AI that's actually on the screen. Or at least give us options, or ask us, do we want the frame rate to suffer and performance to overall suffer over something that doesn't really matter all that much? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. My name is Rampage. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.